Welcome back into Rover Sports, the show. We are previewing the first game of Wild Card Weekend, and it should be a doozy. Texans, Raiders, and Matt, I'd rather would see Tom Savage here in this matchup because, I kind of know what Brock Osweiler, I pretty much know his ceiling after watching, 15 games of Brock just being pretty putrid and barely throwing over 100 yards. But just describing this matchup, two teams that...
Mm-hmm. It's the tale of no quarterback game. It's
the worst quarterback matchup that we've ever had.
And
these teams are obviously going to beat New England after this.
Of course they are, man.
Easy.
Anybody that wins this game, it's automatically to lose next week. So it's one of those games where last year when you had the Chiefs and the Texans, where Brian Hoyer played an atrocious game. This seems like this is going to be. This might even be a bloodbath type of game because
Brian Hoyer
you don't know.
He threw up all over himself and ended his own career.
You don't know what you're going to get out of each quarterback. I think you have more an opportunity. For the Texans, I think their quarterback are very stable right now, much compared to the Oakland Raiders, because look at, you got Osweiler, who's played a full season already under his belt.
Yes.
And when you look at Tom Savage, he's already played one game. And on the opposite side, you have guys like you've never played.
Connor Cook, you've heard of from Michigan
Matt
State,
McGloin out of Penn State, he's played a pretty bad game last week.
I think Connor Cook actually gives them a better chance than Matt McGloin.
Well, Connor
Cook
is
horrible.
Connor Cook doesn't have the arm. He was such a college quarterback at Michigan State with that Tom Izzo offense.
He was.
So
he would throw it like kind of in a circular. His release is awful. He's built. He's not wired. He's not built correctly. Like, he has the inability to throw the ball hard.
And I'll tell you, from a betting perspective, I would take the Texans and the under this week.
No doubt. 3.5, man.
I love the Texans this week. I don't see an absolute way that the Raiders win this game.
There's no way the Raiders are winning. The Texans are winning in a blowout. The Texans have a really good...
I wouldn't call it a blowout.
The Texans have a really good defense.
It's going to be close for 2 to 3 quarters, but I think after the halftime,
the Texans have a really
Raiders
really
are going to have to, for the Raiders to actually compete in this game, they need Latavius Murray to have a absolutely great day.
Yeah.
There's no mistakes
experience
that Matt McGloin can make, or even Connor Cook can make, because that Texans defense is, that's what they got them to the playoffs this year. They're doing a great job.
Clowney is playing well, and Savage and Osweiler are decent quarterbacks. I think the Texans are going to kill these guys, because look at the Raiders last week versus Denver. They embarrassed themselves down 24-6, and I know Denver has a pretty good defense, but Denver had nothing to play for. This game's in Houston. Houston lost last year to the Chiefs. Bill O'Brien, I don't think, has ever won a playoff game in his career. So I think I'm leaning heavy towards the Texans, and it's 37 points. That's a really low over-under by Vegas. So
I still love the under.
The Texans are my lock of the week, 3.5. I couldn't see Oakland keeping this within 20 points. I really couldn't. Connor Cook is just absolutely awful.
I think it's going to be...
And it's sad, because if Derek Carr was playing, they played these two teams in Mexico City, and Derek Carr and the Raiders had a great second half comeback versus the Texans already.
I can't argue with that logic, but with the Texans' perspective, they're the home team, and Oakland's been reeling, and they're so deflated without Derek Carr. And going into this game, the Texans already have playoff experience from last year, and I think they're going to get over the hump for this game.
It is going to be a sad game, because who would want to, waste all their time watching these two teams play? Maybe the second half.
But I will say the Raiders are the future of the AFC. They're going to be right back in it either the next 2 or 3 years. Derek Carr is going to get healthy. They're going to get through camp, OTAs, mini camp, training camp, and all the training that he needs to do to get back. It's really so sad to see, but he's going to work he's such a team player. He's really that team leader, and I think he should be a shoo-in. When you watch the game last week, the Raiders laid an absolute duck against the Kansas City Chiefs. And looking at that, I think Derek Carr should be a shoo-in for MVP, because for how bad the Raiders played last week, and that should be a testament to his ability.
I get that logic completely. It's just sad because, sometimes when players get hurt, it's tough to snap your finger and get back to the playoffs and put yourself in these positions again. And it is very deflating with the magic that they were having. And Derek Carr is such an emotional leader of this football team. So he really is the heart and soul of this team, and they're only going to go as far as he goes. It's tough. Like, you look at Cam Newton in Carolina, and I think that Derek Carr's a more consistent worker than Cam Newton. Like, I think Derek Carr will be a more consistent player over time. But this injury to his fibula, players could become injury prone. Like, you've seen athletes to suffer injuries, like Bo Jackson's a prime example, where they get hurt and they're never really the same. Mm-hmm. I think Carr, luckily, we're really praying and hoping that he's the same. But this could be devastating. And what would have been so valuable for Carr is having that playoff experience, hosting a playoff game in Oakland. And now the team's going to Vegas. I feel bad. They're probably going to Vegas. I feel really bad for Raider fans. It's just sad all around.
Even the same thing for Teddy Bridgewater in the same sack position. He tore his ACL and MCL earlier this year. It seems like it's a similar situation, but
that's a brutal injury.
That's such a brutal injury to come back from. I hope Derek Carr can come back and not be injury prone to not be able to take those hits, because in the NFL you're gonna have to take a lot of hits to be able to make it in the NFL, and to do that on a 10 to 15 year basis. It's so rare to see quarterbacks do so well. So you have to value what Tom Brady has done, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Russell Wilson has done. All those quarterbacks are the top elite in the NFL right now, and to do that for such a long period of time, it's such really blessing to see that, but it's really hard just to get to that point.
It's a testament, but I was having this discussion with you the other day, Shanko, and I think that the Oakland Raiders and the Miami Dolphins are further away than, let's just say, a Cleveland Browns team that drafts like Deshaun Watson, like at number 1 overall. Because if you get a stud quarterback, like look at what Dallas did with Dak Prescott. Like, no one would have foreseen Dak Prescott being this elite juggernaut quarterback. I think Houston and the Miami Dolphins are in purgatory, meaning that these two franchises, since they don't have elite signal callers, since Tannehill's definitely not elite, and since Osweiler and Savage are both very run-of-the-mill quarterbacks, I think that they have zero chance of really winning a title, because then you have to have an incredible defense like Denver had. And I just think that the Texans are just, even though they make the playoffs every year, it's almost pointless, because they're never going to be among the AFC elite, and they're never going to beat the Patriots or the Steelers or Chiefs without having a signal caller that can really change the game. That's why even Cleveland, even though a 1-15 team's never in the playoffs, I think they're closer to the ultimate goal than the Texans are.
I wouldn't write off Brock Osweiler just one bit. I think he's only had 1 year in that Bill O'Brien system, and you can't just write him off. He had some strides this year. He had a couple good games, but I think he's got to settle down, and I think he needs to understand that being able to get a big contract like he has, he can't just take a step back, and he has to realize about his potential, and he's going to be throwing money away for the next couple of years if he doesn't step up next year, and he should have a lit fire under his belt, under his seat, because he certainly is on the hot seat, at that quarterback position, because they threw in Savage so quickly.
They benched him week 15.
I know.
They benched him, so that just shows you how much they have no confidence in him next year. I think he's done.
That's amazing.
I disagree with you. I think he's completely done.
They signed him for a 4-year extension without even meeting the guy.
They did, but they made that mistake. They're burning money. They're burning money in Houston.
They had so much confidence in him, and they just going to throw it
for
out the
no
door.
apparent reason, because he's not because in real life his release is slow.
That's bad management.
His release is slow. He doesn't have good footwork. And look at DeAndre Hopkins. He's an elite talent. Look at Fuller. Look at Braxton Miller. They have pieces along the edge. You need to have a quarterback with the ability to distribute, and Hopkins has had his worst year in the NFL. Heck, he was better with Hoyer last year. So I think Brock Osweiler, he had all the opportunities to succeed. He had a quarterback coach in Bill O'Brien as a head coach. he just doesn't have the tools. So I don't think Osweiler will ever be good. And I was wrong on Brock Osweiler also. I thought he was going to be good as well.
I mean, I'm not.
I think it is appropriate to write him off.
Do not write him off yet. He's only had 1 year. 1 year. Just give him one more year.
But that's all you got. That's all the opportunity you have.
Well, just like Todd Bowles and Rex Ryan, which I thought he should have got another year, and he got fired in 2 years. But that's a discussion for another day.
They never won 10 games. But anyway, this Brock discussion could also go on another day.
Real quick prediction. Who do you got? I love the Texans this week. I really like.
Yeah.
They've been the Raiders are so deflated with no quarterback. Derek Carr at the helm. Or I'm sorry, excuse me. Connor Cook at the helm, excuse me. So when you look at
that Amari Cooper's going to hurt this defense.
I don't see Connor Cook scoring on this Texans defense, who is in the middle of the pack.
Jadeveon Clowney is a good player. They have good linebackers.
I see this game being easily a 27-10 victory for the Texans.
Yeah, and that means that your over-under hits exactly.
Yeah.
Right on 37, 27-10, right?
All right, I'll
right
take
there.
Yeah,
like
right
you'll
there,
go like
yeah.
24-10. I'll do the same sort of thing. I'll say like 26-10. Texans.
Ooh.
Texans win. Alrighty, guys. Thanks for hanging with. Try to enjoy this